Now, I'll introduce the speaker for the next session. Our next speaker is Dr. Pawan Jha, who did his PhD in neuroscience and is currently in the University of Pennsylvania as a postdoctoral faculty in Philadelphia. He was a senior at my uh, college, BN College, from which is under the Patna University, and then he did his masters in biomedical sciences from Ambedkar Center for Biomedical Research, which is a part of the University of Delhi in the North Campus. After his PhD in neurosciences from the University of Amsterdam and the University of Strasbourg in France, he moved to UK for his first postdoc at the famous Francis Crick Institute in London. And then currently, as I said, he's in Philadelphia, which is a few hours drive from New York. He has published his research in several of the international peer-reviewed journals, and his major research interests lie in understanding of molecular and neural mechanisms of sleep-wake behavior, which is an interesting topic, and the therapeutic intervention and management of sleep-related disorders like insomnia, dementia, and other neuropsychiatric abnormalities. So with that, I would like to invite Dr. Pawan Jha. Pawan sir, please
Yes.
unmute yourself. Yeah, welcome.
Hello.
Welcome, you're audible. Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to share the screen first, then I'll begin. Can you see my screen? Piyush?
Yes, I can see your screen. You can just put it in the presentation mode.
All right. So, thank you for the nice introduction, Piyush. I hope everyone is doing good. They are hale and hearty in this pandemic. And before I begin, I would like to congratulate you and your team. You and all the your organizing member like Dr. Ansu. I would like to name some of your organizing team member who is doing wonderful job. In fact, orchestrating the event from behind the screen. It's Dr. Ansu Priya Sinha. It's Bandana and SSR. I don't know what the abbreviation is. Rasan and Chanisa. And before I come to the actual business, I would also like to thanks to the previous guest speaker, Dr. Misra and Dr. Ajay. Both of them are my senior from JNKSR Bangalore and from the BN College. And last but most importantly, the captain of this all event, Sanjeev sir. So thanks again for invite and thanks for the wonderful event. I mean, this is, I hope, going to help a lot of students. So I'm going to talk today that the ladder that exists in the academics, in the biological science. So you begin with, 2+2, you enter in undergrad, and from undergrad to, become a mature scientist. So my main focus would be in academics, but I will try to, navigate from academics to, so by arrow that you can shift from academics to industry. You can do a kind of scientific writer course or etc. There are lots of other avenues for that. So I would like to begin with my own ladder that, more than a decade ago, I was an undergrad at the BN College. And it was a 2004 to 2007 batch. It was, I think, 4th or 5th batch of the BN College. So I was lucky that BN College was a wonderful, and provided me a wonderful opportunity. And at the same time, Sanjeev sir came after doing the master, and he started his own Sanjeev Biotech Foundation there. So I had a very nice interaction with him, and actually I used that platform a lot to do my master entrance preparations. And consequently, I cleared a lot of entrance examinations at JNU and NACBR, Hyderabad, the first phase of the NCBS examination. one examination I failed to clear by the IIT. IIT is called JAM. So a lot of my friends is saying that you attempt a lot of questions and there's lots of negative marking in that examination, so you fail to that. So after getting selected with the many places, there was a confusion that where to go, which place to select. So then again, we discussed together with Sanjeev sir and many other seniors, and eventually I landed in the ACBR. So this is the university department is teaching the biomedical course. And the good thing with this place was that it was an integrated PhD course. So I had an option, either I can go for master plus PhD, or I can quit after master and join the PhD somewhere else. So during this time, I also cleared some of the examination that is actually required to do the PhD in India. That is CSIR and GATE. So these examinations, actually I cleared in the second semester of my master. And my master thesis was also related to the neuroscience, but although it was not completely neuroscience, it was something to the drug synthesis and then their validation, whether this drug is actually going to be useful in Parkinson's disease or not. So once I did my master, then the lots of confusion arrived, because actually I had a feeling that, or I planned to do my PhD from abroad, but I did not do any preparation. I did not write GRE. I did not write TOEFL. So I was a little bit perplexed. Some of them was suggesting that you have a CSIR fellowship, so you should actually start your PhD right after your master. You should not wait. Some was suggesting that, yeah, you have opportunity. You can do some time, kind of research project work somewhere, and then you can begin your PhD somewhere outside India. Eventually, I decided that, well, not actually decided. I applied a lot of places to do a project. So a lot of professors were asking that, no, you have a CSIR fellowship, so you are not allowed to do the project. You can straight away start your PhD. But one professor, luckily, unfortunately, he's no more now. He accepted my application and he invited me in JNC. So I went there in the mind that, well, if everything will work, then I will do my PhD. But the day I entered JNC, one of my seniors was there, and he told me that, well, this lab is okay for the project, but this is not good for your PhD. So keeping in mind that you have to move away from this lab within 1 year and you find another PhD position. So I considered his advice, and I spent 1 year JNC. Here I met Dr. Misra and lots of other colleagues, and get a lot of information how to write the GRE examination, how to write TOEFL examination, what are the prospects of the PhD. This is actually, I can say, the mecca of science, the JNC, NCBS, and ISC. So we used to go there and attend a lot of congress, meet a lot of different scientists from different fraternity. And it is actually a biological science intelligentsia, this triangle institute in Bangalore. So after spending 1 year in JNC Bangalore, I came back again Delhi, where I did master, in a mind that I will write GRE, I will write TOEFL, and then I will apply to US or other European country and move for the PhD. So I came Delhi. I had the thought that I will join, a call center or somewhere, small job, and I'll then write GRE, and then I'll apply for my graduate study, which is actually also called PhD. But when I came here, some of my master senior who were doing the PhD in IGIB, they suggested that actually you should join IGIB as a project assistant and earn some money, because each application also costs quite a lot of money when you apply, and you have to survive in Delhi. So I found a job in IGIB with Dr. Abhay Sharma. He kindly accepted my invitation and application, and he gave me a space. And actually, he hosted me 2 years as a project assistant there. And I was doing some work at the same time. I was also doing preparation for GRE and TOEFL examination. So I did GRE and TOEFL course. And in this time, I also cleared again CSIR. So just for a backup, that in case if I fail to get a position in US or in Europe, then I will began to start again the PhD in India. Luckily, I got a call from some university from US and Canada, but those university was not in a great university. I'm not going to name those university. They are not in the top list. So, but at the same time, there was a newly Erasmus Mundus course was launched in Europe. It's called Neurotime. So these courses were hosting young master students, those who have done master and especially looking for PhD in the neuroscience. So it was a kind of consortium to do the PhD in different country in Europe. So, and there was a nice collaboration between different university. It was an inter-country collaboration. So I got a position in the neuroscience actually to study the neurotime. So the project was something to deal with the time plus the metabolism, or the different timing of the days affecting the metabolism. So I got this position and I started my PhD right in from October 2012, and I finished it in 2016. And during this time, well, it was a really nice time. I tried to explore different parts of the Europe and quite a lot of work as well. But then during this time, I also published some paper here. And once I finished the PhD, then again there was the question then what to do next. Some of them senior were suggesting that you can straight away join, become an assistant professor in some university. Some were suggesting that industry could be also a good option. But then I thought that let's go in a straight way of the trajectory to do PhD and then postdoc. And once I will do one postdoc, then I'll decide what to do next. So luckily I found a lab in the Francis Crick Institute. I applied, I got selected, I came Francis Crick Institute. And we spent 2 years here. I did some research. And after spending the 2 years in Francis Crick Institute, my lab actually moved to the US. And so now we are in the University of Pennsylvania. So this is my trajectory from BSc BN college to Philadelphia. You can see the trajectory is more or less straight, but I spent a significant time here. Well, where's the option of?
So we can see the mouse pointer, sir.
Oh yeah. Okay. So I spent significant time here. I would request the people that if I could have planned my things nicely here, somewhere here in bachelor or in my master nicely, I could have saved this valuable time. So from October 29 to October 2012, I lost I should not say it's lost, although it was a nice exposure to the research and also, but yeah, it was an academic loop. So I still have a regret that I could have a straight trajectory in academy. But one can argue that this is a long journey. I started in 2004 and now it's 2020. So it's really a long time. So, but I realized that I could have done a U-turn at all this time point. So you see, at this stage, after the bachelor from the BN college, lots of my colleagues, they say, oh, research is too boring. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to utilize whatever I've done. And they have chosen the different path. So they have done the MBA course, and now they are doing wonderful in their respective fields. So they are utilizing, some of them, they are in the pharma company and utilizing the exposure of their BN college biotechnology training. Similar thing happened after the master. Some of them went to straight away in the industry. Some of them went again for the MBA. Some of them to do the IES preparations. One of them has cleared an IES examination also. At this point, because I was not in academics, so I cannot say that, but yes, definitely lots of my neurotime colleagues, they are now working in industry. Those who are doing computational neuroscience and also the experimental neuroscience, they are in company. They said that, no, this is a long journey to do the postdoc, and then then go again for the postdoc, and then eventually go for the faculty or the scientist position. But so far I have chosen more or less in straight trajectory. So you can see that I have made a ladder of the academics. So the bachelor, so there are lots of students, more than, imagine 1,000. Here in master, that is get reduced. It comes to, let's say, 400, here 200, in postdoc 100, and the faculty and scientist maybe the 50. So all these things, screening is happening in each stage of the ladder. That's why I also make the first level broader and the last one is narrower. So it's all up to you. You can select which stop at which stage of your academic juncture you can shift yourself towards any position. It could be the industry, it could be MBA, it could be either a medical writer, or it could be anything, or a journalist, a science journalist. So these things is my journey, my trajectory, and the situation, circumstance is not same for everyone. This could be a template for someone, who is matching with from where I started and which city I was and what opportunity I got, what entrance I cleared, etc. It could be a template for someone, but not for everyone. So for the rest part of my talk, I have decided that I will compartmentalize all this point into one slide, and I will describe. And as the talk, my talk title also, Sanjeev sir has instructed me to focus on the international opportunity. So I will focus this part nicely in my coming slide. So I presume that all of you have attended the talk of Dr. Misra and Dr. Ajay. They have nicely explained all the opportunity in India and abroad. So some of the things would be redundant. So sorry for that, but it will be again a kind of revision for that. But I try not to make you bored, so I try to put the things innovative. So once you start your bachelor anywhere in India, either bachelor in BTech or BSc, the first thing you should keep in mind that you have to cross an entrance examinations that will lead you in a very good place for the master. So today I saw that Sanjeev sir was explaining very nicely what to do to tackle the master entrance examination course. Here I also make a very important point. This could be a very helpful for you. The first and foremost thing you have to do is that you have to see the question. So if you see the question paper of the master entrance examination, you will get to realize that what exactly you have to do. So you have to do what? You have to focus on physics, chemistry, and biology. So physics and chemistry would be +2 levels. So whatever you have heard and learned in your 11th and 12th standard, that is going to be used in physics and chemistry. And for biology, you have to focus on the 11th, 12th things, but you have to also focus on some part that would be a bachelor and also the master level stuff, like molecular biology and biochemistry. So as Sanjeev sir was saying, the Leninger is a Gita, or I was told in Indian college, the Bible of biotechnology. So yeah, I also keep these things in entire my bachelor and try to remember. I try to read the Leninger. But even if you're reading the Leninger, I would say that you don't need to remember, don't need to read the entire chapter because it's a very bulky book. You can't read and remember everything. So if you see the paper of the master entrance examinations, I haven't seen the new master entrance examination, but those days when I was applying for that, there were lots of questions in molecular biology and biochemistry area. So you can focus on these two part of the Leninger book. You can skip the metabolism because metabolism is not very important and there are very less questions in case if the question is not coming and there is same trend. So you have to make your own strategy. If you make your own strategy, then the things will be quite easier for you. Or if you have just started to reading and remembering entire the Leninger, is impossible. You will be stuck only in biology. You cannot spare time in physics and chemistry. This is you have to mainly focus that what you should not do. So these areas you can skip. And one more thing I would advise to the young bachelor student that you should make your own notes. And your notes should be in a way that you can revise that note within a week. So just during this first year, second year, and third year of your bachelor, try to focus on it, just keeping in mind that you have to be in a master level. Prepare your own notes. The notes, keep in mind, in such way written that it can be readable or revisable within a week, so that when there is a, because the nature of your master entrance examination is memory based. So if you will not memorize all this question like the what is the structure of DNA, or what you call a certain species name, etc., or who discovered something like that. So those questions, and I think 80% of question is memory based examination. So you have to have a notes. And I have highlighted in a box because I'm going to use this box again and again. And from the next slide, I'm not going to explain it again. I will only focus on your notes. Because this notes is going to help you for your CSIR examination, for your other examination as well. So second point, I would like the bachelor student to focus that to develop your own interest area, because when I was a bachelor student, I was just reading the text. I had no idea what is happening in biology. Nowadays, because of the advent of social media, things is quite easy. So there are some journals like Scientific American. I just give an example, like I generally follow them. So you need to do nothing. You just go in Facebook or Twitter, everywhere, and just subscribe these magazines. You will get informations. And this news, when you read, it give you a different idea. And this is going to help you when you will apply for a top institution in India and abroad also for your master and PhD. Generally, they generally do not ask the memory-based and textual stuff, textual content. They generally ask a question like, well, if I will give you $1 million, what kind of experiment you would like to do? Or something, what do you think that, what is the greatest discovery of the century from last one decade, something like that. So you can select your research interest on your comfort level. For example, someone is interested in molecular biology. Somebody like one of my friends was interested deeply in molecular biology. I was interested in brain, so I have chosen the neuroscience. Somebody could be interested in geological science, somebody botany, etc. One more thing, the interest can be also modified. I would not say that you should be adamant that, well, you like neuroscience. If you will not get opportunity anywhere else in the world in neuroscience, you will not go for the further study. So opportunity can also craft or incline, deviate your interest. So you should be a little bit flexible, a kind of plasticity. Third point I would like to follow for the bachelor student is exposure to the lab. So generally, the people who come from the remote part of the India, like I come from Patna. I did my bachelor in Patna. I was good at knowledge. For example, the basic understanding of the subject, but I was not knowing that what is plasmid, what is DNA. We were thinking that DNA could be something like a double helix. So this kind of things is really very important, because your competitor, those who are coming from the big city or somewhere in the international like Europe or in America, they have actually already started right from their 9th or 10th from their school, so they know better than you. It is not going to change a lot, but since it is competition and you have to compete with the other people. So I would suggest that, suppose if you are doing your bachelor in Darbhanga or somewhere in Malda or somewhere in remote part of Warangal. So what you do, you go and visit nearest lab. For example, if you are in Patna, I don't know the part of the country, but if you are in Patna, you are MRI, you can go Mahavir Cancer Center, and you can ask, hey, what kind of experiment you guys are doing? So can I see what you're doing? So they will never say the scientists never say because scientist and poet, these two are the creature. They actually wanted to explain their kind of creature to everyone, because nobody bothered to know what actually they are doing. So it's very difficult to understand the poem. It is very difficult to understand the craft of the science. So they will definitely ask you, okay, come, you can see my PhD student or my technician, what they're doing. So these things you can do, and this is definitely going to help you future. Right now, in academics, it could be gibberish to you that you'll say, oh, no, it's not going to ask, these things is not going to come in examination. But this is very important. And the fourth important thing I would like you to remember, that if it is possible, I know it's not possible for everyone, those who are in the remote part of the country, attend some school and workshops. So if you're attending some school, like some kind of technique-driven school or some analysis, some science writing kind of things, it is going to give you an extra edge in your CV, and also it enrich your knowledge of the biology. And the fifth and the most importantly, what I understand is that you should have a very good computational skill. This is very, very important thing. If you don't have 1, 2, 3, 4, even if you will land in any average master program, an average PhD program, but eventually you need to do the computational things, because now the things are changing vastly. Everything is AI driven, everything is kind of virtual reality things appearing, and its utilization is happening widely in biological science. So I can give you one example that 2-3 years back when I was a PhD student, I was using a manual counting method for histological slices, or it was a minor algorithm I was using. Same thing I'm doing now as a postdoctoral project. I'm using AI-driven algorithm. So you have to be computer friendly. You have to start with the basics till you're programming. You should know quite a lot. But these things I would like to cover. And if somebody is interested, they can email me or they can contact me later. Then I can explain you what actually you have to do at your level. So once you finish your bachelor, you clear your entrance test, you land in a master course. Suppose you reach somewhere in some XYZ university, then your master course curriculum begins. So you have to focus on academics, and you have to, I would say you should not try to be a topper, because I have seen the fate of the topper, because topper try to get a score highest, and he'll spend 100% time to just remembering and cramming, because unfortunately or fortunately, the structure of the master course or the bachelor course is typically the people who will remember a lot, or who can replicate whatever the notes the teacher is teaching. They will score higher. So don't try to score highest in the class. So try to get a decent mark, and the side by side try to do the other things, a kind of preparation. And keeping in mind, now you have to join the PhD program, and the top PhD program. So what you will do for that, you will do the master thesis. The master thesis, I think, in some universities for 6 months, and some is for the 1 year. So wherever you are, depend upon you. This is very, very crucial things. So try to do the master thesis in a very good lab if it is possible, or even at the average lab. Try to understand what actually is happening. Don't generally it happens that master student is directed towards the PhD, though you are doing PhD and you have to follow. I mean, what actually I did, I was just washing the glassware in my master thesis. But I try to understand what actually is happening. But just try to understand what is happening, and try to get something fruitful from here. So, and the third important thing in master you have to do is again, you have to pass certain examination called CSIR and GATE. So I think Dr. Misra and Dr. Ajay had nicely explained about these structure of examination. And Sanjeev sir also is, I think, going to explain these examination. So again, you have to remember, for the examination also, this box is going to be useful. The notes that you have prepared, or those who are already in master and haven't prepared, please prepare for that. This notes is going to be help you to clear the examination, because you will be extremely busy in a schedule of your academics, your dissertation thesis. You definitely won't have time to revise the entire syllabus of your master, your bachelor. But these notes that can be revised within a week, you can take a break of 1 week and revise this week and these notes, and safely or with a good rank, you can clear these examinations. This is what I actually did. And when you clear the entrance examination, then I think this is a kind of certificate. So now you have a ticket to sit in an interview in India. If you are looking for a PhD in India and you have a CSI or you have a gate, depending upon the criteria of the institutions, now you have a ticket. You can entry, you can entitled to sit in an interview. You write, you apply for the positions, you got a call from the university, and then general trend is that the interviewer is interested what you have done in your thesis, your master thesis. So remember, this master thesis is very, very, very important. So even if you haven't done the experiment by yourself, somebody has done for you, try to understand what is happening, what could have been done, the kind of things, the logical stuff. And the second kind of question generally interviewer are asking is that the interest, what kind of interest you have, what you will do, this kind of thing, and a hypothesis-driven kind of question. Some of the institutions, unfortunately, are also asking memory-based questions. So I personally do not want to go in those universities. For example, ISC. I haven't appeared the interview of ISC. I was not interested to do the PhD in India, but I heard from those days. I don't know what's happening nowadays in India. You can discuss your immediate senior about that. That these some of the professors are asking the people that draw the a complex enzymatic pathway. I think even the professor would not have remember all this kind of thing, even if he is not teacher, if not he's teaching every now and then those things. So this is not in your hand. If you are brave, you remember everything, and good luck for that. But at least you can take care of this point, and then you can go and sit in an interview, and you will, I think, clear the entrance examination. So this is the scenario of a PhD in India. So what if you're interested to go abroad, like I was? So for the Indian student, or generally the master student or the project student, generally there is 3 destinations. The first is America. You see this American flag. Second is Europe, and third is United Kingdom and Canada. There are some countries that I did not include it. That is nowadays South Korea, Japan, Singapore. This country is following the norm of US. So if you wanted to go US, you should have certain things, like you should have a good research experience. So either you have a wonderful dissertation thesis, or if you working somewhere as a project, you should have a very good research interest, so that you can write in a statement of purpose. There is examination called GRE, so it's a graduate record examination. And another examination is TOEFL. TOEFL is a basic examination that every migrant do who wanted to migrate from non-English speaking country to the English speaking country. You have to sit for that. So you have to have the score of these 2 examinations. In the next slide, I'm going to explain you what is actually GRE and how you can prepare for that. You should have a CV, you should have a SOP. I think Piyush is nicely covering this part. So he's going to solve your problem here. I'm going to solve the problem here. And this is the stuff that your master and your research experience is going to solve. So apart from that, one very important feature is that you should have a recommendation referee who can write on your behalf. This is like, for those who are naive, they don't understand things in science. At each stage when you try to progress, or you jump, or you make a leap from one to ladder to another ladder, fortunately or unfortunately, you have to have someone who endorses for you. For example, if you work with me as a master student and you're applying for the PhD, so I have to write, or your prospective guide or your graduate team or coordinator will ask me that, okay, so Mr. X is looking for a PhD in my team, so can you give me feedback about Mr. X and how bright he is, what is his expertise, or what kind of thinking ability he has. So you have to have, for the United States, 3 referee who can write on your behalf. So generally, what happened with me, that my PhD was a master PhD, and the place where I did my master's, she actually wanted me to, she was looking that she was expecting that I should continue the PhD with her. So she actually, did not refer me. She did not refer me. So I have to manage.
Your slides are not visible.
Sorry? Hello?
Continue, sir.
Anything? Somebody was saying the slide was not visible.
It's visible to me, so maybe the problem is at their end.
All right. So, but you might have heard that for those who are actually in master and looking for apply for the next session, though I'm not talking about those who are already applied for the PhD in United States. You might have heard that there is a temporarily, kind of hiccup is happening because of this COVID, post-COVID world change. So the US president has, I think, is not actually welcoming the foreign PhD. So this actually, I don't know, you have to do homework and then you have to proceed. But I think that from next few years, things would be normalized, and then you have to go through all this process. But if you are looking for PhD in non-American country like in European Union has 26 country, and I think the majority of PhD intake is happening from the France, Netherlands, Germany, Sweden, Finland, these countries, the country who's on top. So here you need to have a research experience. GRE and TOEFL is not required, but if you have, that is going to give you an extra edge in your CV. And then research proposal and CV is as in a US application. And here, instead of 3 recommendations, you need to have a 2 recommendation. If you have a 3, that's also fine, and it's going to a big endorsement on your behalf. So that's fine. And for UK and Canada, I actually applied some places in UK for PhD, but it's look like that Canada and UK, their PhD intake is not as in Europe and in America. They have a limited PhD position. But here also you need to have a research experience, reference letter, and CV and SOP. And instead of GRE and TOEFL, there's a different examination. This is actually equivalent to TOEFL examination. So this is just a test of the English language. So once you have all these things, you are ready to apply for this university, and you have to wait for a call. So here I said, as I discussed already, that what a decent CV look like. I think this would be a gibberish to you because Piyush is going to take on this, and he's going to give you an actual feedback, how to write a CV and how to write a SOP. So I'm not going to bother much about this point. I think he's doing extraordinary job. Thank you, Piyush, for that. So,
thank you, sir.
So once you have written all these examinations, so what you have to do? So okay, so I forgot to mention that now. Among all these international target, the most difficult hurdle is that GRE examination, because this is actually nothing. It's just a way to earn the money from. This is American tactic to earn the money, because this examination is testing your ability to understand English, which is funny because you are going to do science and you are not going to do a literature course there. I mean, English literature course. So I really don't understand what is the meaning of conducting. I mean, this could have been an aptitude test that could have been better to train the graduate student or do this training graduate student. But actually 80% thinks of GRE that actually this is a way to earn the money. So that I'm not going to explain and go in that politics of that. But yeah, so the fee of this examination is $205. This used to fluctuate from the country to country because I'm putting in the dollar. Some country, if you see in India, you can see also in the price in rupees. And the structure of the course is that there are 3 important sections. So one is analytical writing. So in the analytical writing, there are 2 parts. First is a kind of task writing. So they will give you one line, and then they will ask you that, what do you think about this line? And second is that is a kind of paragraph, and they will ask you what kind of assertion and the narrative you can build on based on the paragraph. So in a nutshell, this is a kind of essay kind of thing. If you are good in writing essay, it's very good. The maximum marks here is 6, but if you can score 3.5 or 4, that is considered a decent score. Or more than that is also fine. I mean, that is of course, but you should keep in mind that minimum you have to score 3.5 to 4. Or higher, of course, the better. And the time is 30 minutes per task. So it is a computerized test. They will give you all the space. You have to quickly try to. I also say that if somebody who is already in the master course, try to be familiar with the computer. And so here you have to bring your thought in brain and then translate it in the space provided with that by typing. So when I was writing the GRE, that my speed was very slow because at that time I had no laptop. So, but anyhow, I used to manage with that because trying to do lots of practice in the chatting, and those days there was a newly chat box, so I had a practice to writing in a chat box. The second section is that verbal reasoning. In this section, generally there is 20 questions per section. There are 2 sections of that, and both of these sections are actually clone of each other. But there will be total 40 questions and half an hour for each section. So in 1 hour, you have to answer 40 questions. But then there are 2 kinds of questions here. The one is the reading comprehension, the general reading comprehension. So you have to read the paragraph, and based on that, you have to answer the question. And second is that they actually test your verbal ability. So how many word meaning in a layman term, if I have to speak, So generally there are a high frequency GRE words. So they are 5,000 high frequency words. So you have to cram, you have to remember all those words, and then you have to sit in examination. So when I came UK, interestingly, I say that let's play a game. I asked some of the high frequency GRE word to the native speakers, so those who are from UK. And surprisingly, I asked 5 high frequency GRE word to those native people. They were unable to answer any of those high frequency GRE words. So this means that even if you are at a 0 level of English or a very, very basic level of English, the setup of the examination is such that even the native need to be put an effort. So that is a nice part of this examination. So the highest mark here is that range from 130 to 170. Here, if you're scoring 160 or 150, that is decent score. And the same thing is for the quantitative reasoning. The structure is same. A little bit time is more here because this is in mathematics. So 9th or 10th standard of mathematics are asked here, like, somebody who is, aware of that, some general examination that is happening for railway or those kind of examination, or those kind of question, you can see very nicely. This is very, very easy at your level. So this is nothing to bother about that. Here also, if you score more than 150 or 60, that is decent. So this is all the structure of GRE examination. Someone can ask that what should I study for GRE examination? There are some books. When I was preparing, I used to use the Barron's book, but there are Kaplan's book. There are also nowadays lots of software. There are lots of apps as well. So somebody can go for the, there are many apps. I would not like to take the name of them because it's not endorsement of those apps. So yeah, but if somebody interested, they can email me at one apps I remember. I don't remember the name, but those days I was installing in my computer. I don't remember the name, but yeah, there was a very good apps that was giving you a different meaning of one word and quite a lot of cheat sheet. So it was a word meanings and then all the description. So nowadays in internet, if you Google it smartly, you will find a lot of study material. That's not a problem. You just need to keep in mind that you have to do that and then work in that direction. It's not very difficult. So once you get GRE, then the next hurdle is TOEFL. So if you have already prepared for GRE, this is a cakewalk. This is nothing actually. This is if you sit even without preparation, you will score very nicely because the main agenda of this course is that they are actually testing you that when you come US or any other English-speaking country, will you able to communicate well with the professor or with the supermarket or somewhere outside anywhere, in a cinema hall and parking lot, anywhere. So the section is reading. So here again, the reading comprehensions. So the time are fluctuating. There is some certain set of question here. One section is listening. So there you will see the question will come. These examination is computer-based examination. There are also paper-based examination, but I will not recommend you to go for the paper-based examination. So in the listening section, you will be given a window where there will be a conversation of professor or a student or somebody, some political leader, they are speaking, and you have to understand that one, and based on that understanding, you have to answer some question. After that, you have to speak. So they will ask you some extempore kind of question, like what you will do if you meet suddenly your favorite superstar. So these kind of things will become, and then you have to speak certain time points. So the moment you turn on the button, we'll start recording you, and certain time point it automatically saved, and the next question will appear. And the fourth section is the writing. Writing is just a kind of essay writing. They will give you some task that for example, something that what do you think that democracy is feasible things, or something like that, this kind of things. So this is very, very easy thing. You can just write it, just you need a little bit practice. So as I told you, even if you sit in this examination without preparation, you can score well. The maximum mark is 120, but I think even without preparation, you can score 100 marks. Fee again is $100. This is USD I'm speaking. So that also, as I said earlier, in case of GRE, this change. The structure wise, more or less, that IELTS is similar. So you can see here the web information I have also pasted, so somebody can go there and explore there. And the fee is a little bit higher in IELTS, 200. And the scoring system is a little bit different here, because the maximum score is 9. And here, if you score 6.5 or 7 or above, that is considered very nice for academic entry. So once you write all this examination, then you have to keep in your mind that what to do with these scores. So they will send you these GRE and TOEFL score within a week to your address. This is a hard copy. I don't know nowadays it is also coming digitally or on your email or not. But when I wrote, it came in as a hard copy. And once you have this score, you have to think that now where you have to move, which you should also think one thing that you have to keep in mind. And if you come United States, in US, the PhD time is a little bit lengthy here, the 6th year, because they have rigorous coursework. So you have to do a lab rotation kind of stuff, and you have to do the coursework. So that actually kill, or I should say, if you are younger in age, that's not kill. It's a good training, in fact. So it's a little bit lengthy time. On the other hand, the average PhD in Europe and in UK is 4 years. So it's a 2-year time saving here. So once you have everything, now you are ready to apply. So for the US, the point is that where to apply. Suppose you have a GRE score, your TOEFL score, your research, everything is ready. Where to do? What to do? Your reference are ready. What to do? So based on all these things, you can evaluate yourself, and there are some web portal I did not mention here. You can feed all this information, and they can give you that, well, this university you have to apply. How will you come to know about the US university? There is a link here, the usnews.com. So here you have there is a ranking of all the university. So based on this ranking, the higher the topper the university, the stringency higher. So somebody if have very good GRE score, very good CV, very good recommendation letter, some research article in before PhD. So they are actually they are a high chance to get in top university. So I think yesterday I took the ranking of the university, and I actually took the top 6 university of the US. So MIT, Stanford, California. And like that, you will see more than 100 or 200. You can select, I think, top 50, top 100 is fine for the US. But you have to keep in mind that each application almost cost you $200. So it's a little bit expensive business to apply here. When I was applying, I applied, I think, six or seven university. But the nice thing is that this application is not in Europe. It is free of cost, so you can apply as much as you would like to do in open position, and also you can write email to the professor. In UK and in Canada, the fee is a little bit lesser, it's 100 and 150, but again, I say that the chances of getting the PhD is less compared to these two continents. So how will you come to it? So you can track the status of the US university ranking by usnews.com, but the question is that how will you come to know about European position and position in UK and Canada? So there are some keyword you can write in Google, and then you can track and navigate with that. There are lots of that, but also I have just taken which is very most common. So for the Europe, you can go through the nature job, the science career, fence, this kind of stuff. There are different, depend also upon your area of expertise and interest. You can go ahead. And for Canada and for UK, I sort out there are Indeed and USA Job AC.uk and Mendeley. So these are the portal where you can find a suitable PhD position based on, and also postdoc position here. So when you are done with the PhD, then you can also come with this keyword search and try to find postdoc position. In fact, I found a postdoc position by using this keyword key, jobac.uk. So thanks, jobac.uk. So this is the way to navigate and try to get a position in. It's not very difficult, but yeah, it's required a consistent effort right from the beginning, from a bachelor to master. So now, suppose you applied, you got placed, you are in university campus. Now this very, very important thing is that when you landed in a university, a very good university, how will you select the lab, which lab you would like to do? So if you are a master student and trying to go for a PhD, the biggest question is that which lab you have to go, because you have to. In America, I think that there is a mutual selection. You select the PhD supervisor, and PhD select you because there's a lab rotation. But many places like Europe and Canada, there is no lab rotation. There is less stringent coursework, so you have to do the initiation by yourself and try to find someone. So this is very tricky things to select a PhD supervisor. Again, I can say that I can be right or wrong, but what I feel that I have summarized some point is very important, and the first point is that this morning I wake up and I try to finalize my presentation for this meeting, and I got to know that there is one PhD student from IIT Gandhinagar, she committed suicide. I'm not saying I really don't know what has happened, what's the real reason, but there could be a possibility that there would have been mistake. She could have committed some mistake by selecting the PhD supervisor. I again saying that I really don't know, but there are many cases that there is a conflict between PhD supervisor and PhD, because PhD is a something that when you work 2 year, 3 year, you have to get a degree from there. Suppose if you're a postdoc, it's just a job. If you don't like PR, you can quit at any time point. But in PhD, your hand is tied with the supervisor. So before you select a PR, you have to be very, very careful. You have to do some kind of homework, investigation, what kind of person he is, because you have to spend a longer time with him. And it is going to be history. It is going to be a kind of one-time thing in your. It's like a wedding. It's a one-time thing in your life. So you have to be very, very meticulous to do selection. I again say that what has happened today is really unfortunate. So we have to be very careful. I mean, those who are youngsters who should not get rid of this bad thing using them, but at the same time should learn the lesson. We should learn from somebody's mistake. So the first and foremost thing I would like to do is that try to investigate about the prospective PI. So what do? How you know that who is thinking what? So the first thing is that try to contact your senior, your friend, your colleague, and also if it is possible somebody who is already working with him. Try to make a link. And even if you are unable to get all these things nowadays, which I believe, I may be right or wrong, you should guess the behavior, the mentality of person by their social media activity. So suppose if you have to know about this gentleman, what he's thinking, what kind of things he's doing every day, what you will do without exchanging an email or without calling him or without interacting him. You just need to go in his page of social media and see what actually he's doing, what kind of post he's doing, what kind of things he's cooking in his brain. So this will not give you an entire idea about the person, but give you a little bit hint that what kind of human beings he is. So use all these tools, use all this ammunition to track with a good person before selecting him as a PI. It's very, very important things. Second thing is that your research interest should intersect between the research interest of your PI. I mean, suppose if you are you would like to do something in ecological science, and the PI is big name and he's doing biochemistry, and you say, oh, he's big name, he's doing very good publications, so let's do it. No, this should not be happening. Hello, sorry.
No, sir, please continue.
Okay. So you should be very, very, very careful to select the PI. So your research interest and his research or her research interest should intersect, should overlap. Otherwise, this is not going to be match. And then there would be at the end of then there would be separation. So this is very important point. Third point, I selected that the PI should have very good, clear, good publication record. I think a previous speaker also mentioned, and I think Dr. Misra has explained very nicely that about the publication and impact. I'm not going to discuss with that. What is journal and what are the impact factors of those. You have already know all these things. So you should have a very good, record of the publication, because at the end of the day, your PhD and your postdoc, everything is success is judged, which is actually not totally correct by what you have published.
Sorry to disturb you, Pawan sir.
Yeah.
You need to present again. Someone disturbed it.
Sorry?
You need to present your screen again.
My screen?
Yeah, something went wrong.
So what should I do? So let me escape. Is that fine?
You need to share the screen once again. Yeah.
Hang on. Resume presenting, right? All right.
Yeah.
So where were we? Okay, so once you figure out the point 3, you have to be, this is not very important thing, but also you have to be very careful that if you have a long journey to finish your PhD, your lab should be a rich lab. It's not fumble. You should not bother about ordering some small things, and a PI should have a little amount of money to complete the project that's running in the lab. So, and one very, very important thing, what I understand is that this is really a didactic issue. There could be a lot of view about that which PI should be approached, whether it should be a brand new PI. I mean, those who have just finished postdoc and started the new lab, or the established lab. So this is a game. This is a kind of a jackpot kind of stuff, or kind of so. If the PI is new, there's the impetus to do a lot of hard work, publish quickly and those things. So in that case, and he can also train you by his first hand, so you will get a training directly from the PI. So that is the advantage to going with the new PI. But the problem with the new PI is that he's not well experienced. He doesn't know how to deal with, how to manage the PhD and postdoc. So you may struggle there. And there is also a question, because in science, especially in abroad, that no position is fixed. So if he will unable to attract the grant, his position is not sure. So there is a little bit risk for going to do the new PI. But the advantage part of the new PI is that if the PI is highly motivated, so there's a high chance to you to do the better science, the better publication. With established PI, that they are a little bit lazy, they are too busy, they cannot give you too much attention. The advantage part is that you are safe and secure. If it is well known, and his recommendation would be the wonderful. So I think I will leave on your decision, and also on the opportunity and the things that you, a time and luck you got. Even if you go for the new PI and established PI, there are some positive and negative things. So any of you get, I think you have to adapt and you have to move ahead with that. So this is the way you can select the PhD. So once you are landed in PhD, some of the point actually I highlighted that you have to do, although these things is well and then nicely discussed in the previous presentation. So in America or some other part of the world, also in India, in fact, there's a lab rotation and coursework, and in some institute, I cannot say in all the institute. So you should start the lab rotation coursework and the literature search. You have to spend here some time, and then you define your aim, which is quite, once you reach there, then you will understand everything. And the very most important thing I would like all the youngster or the people who was now entering in PhD or would like to do PhD in future is that when you land in PhD, when you start PhD, try to learn some techniques, especially the contemporary techniques. For example, if somebody is doing genomics, he should learn the latest genomics, things like transcriptomics, metabolomics, and things. So these kind of things, or somebody is doing neuroscience to learn the new technique, or for example, although these techniques is not 10-year-old, for example, optogenetics or DREAD, etc. But these techniques and the contemporary learning of these techniques will guarantee your next position when you apply for your postdoc or after the PhD if you want to switch to the industry or other things. And also the data analysis. So these things are very, very important. I would also emphasize here that you should not try your hand with the multiple, things. You should not be greedy too much, because once you diverge too much, then you will learn nothing actually. So try to keep in your mind that one or two, you should be master of, one or two technique. It should not be like, jack of all trades and master of none. So, and the fourth thing is that you should learn how to collaborate, especially with the postdoc, especially those who are doing a PhD in India. Actually, there is no postdoc, but abroad they will find a lot of postdoc. So your immediate guide would be postdoc if you're doing PhD in abroad. So try to do nice collaboration with the postdoc. In India also, somebody who is senior in the PhD, because PhD is a lengthy there, for example, 6, 7, 8 years. So those who are 6th or 7th year in PhD, actually they have a maturity of the postdoc. So try, if you are a first year, second year PhD, try to sync with their schedule and trying to get collaborate with them. You will get to learn a lot there. And fifth point is that you should try to attend a lot of workshop. I would not concern too much for attending the conference, because conference you should attend when you have the data and all the things. But when you attend the workshop, you learn quite a lot of things. So, for example, the workshop of doing CRISPR-Cas or analysis stuff. So this is actually going to help you a lot. And once you are at the end of the PhD, for example, in the last year, or about to finish your thesis, then you should attend a 1 or 2 conference. And in that conference, you should try to do a speed dating. Try to catch the prospective PI who could be your PI in the postdoc, and try to say, well, I am this, and I would like to discuss with you, and this, I have done this, that. And so many of I think PhD is getting the postdoc position by doing this kind of stuff. Point 6 is development of your communication writing skill. This is very important to survive longer in research. So even if you don't know analysis, even if you don't know technique, even if you don't know anything, but if you know how to write, you will survive better, or you survive longer. Your lifespan would be high in research. So try to be a very good communicator, especially in writing. Even if you don't know how to speak well, that's fine, because lots of Japanese and Chinese scientists, they are publishing a lot of good publications in Nature Science Cell, but they are unable to speak, so that's fine. I can understand not everybody have a fantastic communication skill, and this is obvious because somebody who is not native English speaker, but at least you focus to improve your communication and writing skills. So I think Piyush is, again, I'm leaving on him, he's doing a wonderful job. So, and then at the end, try to publish whatever you found in your PhD in a good journal. So again, the good journal are good journal, they're high impact journal, or already this meeting, and to the next, try to track for the postdoc to the later position. So once you're done with the PhD, the next job is that what to do now. So if you wanted to continue in that line of trajectory that I saw in the first slide, the next scope is that to go in postdoc. There could be industry, there could be the medical writing, journalism. There could be many a venue. I mean, you can go straight away to become a teacher at undergrad or the graduate level, or the master level. But if you have already chosen, or if you would like to do postdoc, now here, again, you have to select the university and the advisor here. But the priority of selection of a postdoc supervisor and the PhD supervisor is not same. So for example, the first point I mentioned, in order to select a PhD supervisor, that he should be very gentleman, he should be very father figure, or he should be very caring, and he should be, because you have to live with him a longer time. So here, you should not bother about those things. So that point I have put and the last. So first thing is that your research, what you have done in your PhD and what you would like to do in your future, should match with the research interest of your prospective postdoc supervisor. So this is the first important thing. Second thing, that he should have a very good publication record. Trying to go for somebody who is doing wonderful research, who is really big shot. So because this is your last step to be as a first author of your publication. So I mean, this means that you would be the leading researcher of this research project, and this at this stage you would not going to get opportunity to be a first author, because if you start your own lab, you will be the corresponding author. So here you should try to find somebody who really have extraordinary research history and publication record. And the guy you have chosen to work with, he or she should be well known in the field. So in case if you are working in, for example, developmental biology, in the field of developmental biology, he should be well respected, and everyone should be known. For example, if you wanted to apply back to academia in India, or somewhere in NCBS or somewhere, so he should be well aware. I mean, his name should be well aware in the intelligentsia of those fields. Again, there is a question of new PI or established PI. So this is little bit dicey things as I discussed. There is a pros and cons. There is advantage and disadvantage of going for these two PIs, because what I see nowadays in postdoc positions, a lot of new PI is recruiting a lot of postdoc positions. So I would leave up to you, and also opportunity, time, and your luck factor. But I would say that even if you get the new PI, you should go, and you should try to go ahead. And the last point, as I discussed, that it's not very important. Even if he's not a good human being, or something went wrong 1 year after postdoc, 2 year, or 6 months, you can quit postdoc and you can find another supervisor. You can apply again. So that is the thing to select the postdoc. Once you are done with the postdoc, so in the trajectory or in the ladder, I am somewhere here. I am a postdoc. I'm a senior postdoc. Now I am like to make a jump to be a faculty, or to be somewhere in industry as a scientist. Well, I have kept my option alive in all the direction, or journalism, a kind of editorial job or something, where whatever opportunity I will get, or I will judge. If I have a lot of options, then I will select. If not, then I just say the beggar should not be chooser, so I will go that direction. So I also have a slide. So this is all the summary of what I have already spoken, the publication, contract, and the preparation of independent career. So this is the agenda of doing postdoc. Now somebody can ask the question that why you would have to do the postdoc? You are already PhD. What's the agenda of doing postdoc? You can straight away to come from PhD to here. Yeah, the problem is that PhD is a training, a formal training. PhD is a formal training, and it is not sufficient to make you independent researcher. Although there are lots of cases where I have seen the people straight away after PhD has become faculty or join the lead scientist in industry, but that's very rare. I mean, if you have very good publication, for example, Cell to Cell or to Nature or to one big impact and one average impact, you can try. But nowadays, I think different university and different industry they have make a kind of gating. They're saying that 2-year, or 3-year, 4-year of postdoc experience is mandatory because there's a high competition. So somebody who has better experience, they actually selecting those. So actually in postdoc, you do postdoc to get a lot of publication, a good publication, number one. That is also called research experience. So when you lead the project, you learn quite a lot of things. You learn how to organize the things. You learn how to conduct the research, how to deal with some sort of managerial work. Also the postdoc has a little bit less burden than PI. But if you are a semi-autonomous kind of things, you also learn how to write a grant, or if your PI is sharing the review stuff, or by yourself if you are doing so. Because I'm a corresponding author of lots of my papers, so I'm getting a lot of review requests. So I do sometimes I'm busy. I also decline that one. So these things you learn in your postdoc, and then you also make a contract. So for example, in UK, in Crick, I met quite a lot of good postdoc or PhD, and they are a very good friend of mine. So for example, if I have to do something new, and if I'm struggling, for example, I have to analyze some data which somebody is expert of doing that, I can straight away write an email, hey, I would like to get input on you. So that is actually going to make your life a little bit easier. So you make a lot of contract. In PhD, you are busy and you are quite wrapped in academic circle. So you have a lot of things to do. You have to write a big thesis, that also time-consuming things, and you have to be. I mean, although there is a less pressure than postdoc, but yeah. So there are also lots of formality. But here in postdoc, you are open. You have a little bit wider platform, so you can go and you can make a contract, which is going to be beneficial when you become independent. And eventually, this training is making you an independent researcher, fit for academics or fit for industry or anything else, for journalism or for science writing or teaching or better human beings. So another point is that why, this is my last slide. So there's why biological science research. So I would tell you about from my experience that when I did my bachelor and I was going for the master, I had opportunity to go for MBA because a lot of my friends, they did MBA. So I also wrote some exam after my master. I saw that they have done my bachelor, so I had some options. But somehow I realized that I cannot do that because I'm not getting enjoyment of being an administrator or the manager. So the question is why you have to be, and you should do that. So if you really like to fund science tech as a fund, then it's really nice, because it's really nice if you do some experiment, you are eagerly waiting that what could be happen, what could be the result. So it's really fun. The second thing is that this is a global career. So you can imagine I started my journey from BN College, Patna. From Patna, I came Delhi. From Delhi, I went Bangalore. From Bangalore, I came again Delhi. From Delhi, I went Amsterdam. From Amsterdam, I came France. From France, I went London. And now I'm sitting in Philadelphia. So more or less, I travel a lot. So, and yeah, there are lots of disadvantages also, which I'm going to discuss later. But this is really a fun. This is really a nice to meet a lot of intelligentsia across the world, because different continent, in fact, or country. So if you really would like to do that, then this is for you. Second point is that nice thing with this field is that you are doing what you like to do, what you love to do. For example, I can give you an example. If you qualified to an IS examination in India or an IPS examination of India, and you would like to be an IB officer or even a RAW officer, because you would like to serve India, but there is a possibility that they will not send you there, because if you are not fit for them, or you are not trained in a way that, or you suppose if you would like to serve your own district, or if you would like to do something out of the box, but you have a bureaucratic network around you, you cannot do what you would like to do. You have to follow the norms. You have to do exactly what is written in CRPC. So this is just an example, but here in this field, at least if I want to do neuroscience, if I would like to do something astrocyte and glial talk kind of things, I can apply for a PI, or I can, if I'm an independent scientist, I can do what I would like to do. I can write a grant in a way that I can say, well, look, I have this expertise, and then I would like to do it. I can write a grant to the grant authority. So this advantage of being in this field is that you really do what you like to do. Third point, I gather that there's a less investment. Frankly speaking, I think I would not have invested more than 100,000 rupees or 200,000 rupees to reach at this stage. Because I remember when I went from my hometown Patna to ACBR, the fees of those days were 10,000 rupees each semester. So how much? 40,000 for 4 semester I did. And after that, I qualified CSIR. And after that, I came Amsterdam and doing PhD in postdoc, and I just start getting scholarship in all this state. So just by a little bit investment at your master and your bachelor level, you start earning the money. So this is one of the factors that this is good for those who are coming from, I should say, not very sound financial background. And so this is also a factor. Suppose if you would like to do MBA from IIM or some average institution in India, I think you have to pay a lot of money. I mean, you can go and see the fee structure of those institutes, but I have a feeling that more than 30, 40, 100,000 rupees you have to put for those kind of professional course. Or if you would like to do those courses in abroad, like in America or something, forget about that. Even if if you are coming from average, family, like me, then it's you can't even imagine those kind of stuff. So this, in the less investment, you can reach more and higher in the global. And the fourth thing is that you are earning extraordinary skills. For example, I know how to, when you're doing PhD, when you're doing postdoc, you are learning a very specific and very latest and very, updated skills. So, and that is without investment, without putting anything. You are getting money to learn for that. You are going to perform those things. So after this training, if you are going to apply these skills in the market meaning industry, your salary would be high. So this is free of the cost. You're learning, because you see nowadays, even if you take any course in Coursera or somewhere in an online portal, you have to pay a lot of money. You have to pay $50 for each session or something like that. But here, you are getting money to learn. Fantastic. And the last point I gather here is that so the options are wide here. So if you are in the trajectory, in the linear trajectory, then you can switch at any point of time. After your PhD, after your bachelor, master, or postdoc, you can go to the industry. You can go in science and media and teaching. Somebody can go in medical writing. Somebody can set your own enterprise. You can start your own business. You can start making your own kit, for example, or start making your own biotech company. This kind of stuff is there. But yes, you can do whenever you want. So, but if someone, for example, who is doing teaching right from beginning after the bachelor, or who is in industry after bachelor, they can't come and do easily to do PhD or something like that. So the things are not reversible; it's irreversible. So I would suggest that try to go trajectory in a linear way, and when you think that now it's time to take a turn, please go ahead. But these are all the positive things to be in biological research. But I know there are also some flip side of that, and these are stuff that you should not be in biological research, because this is frustrating field, I can tell you, because it is fine if you're getting good data, your experiment is running is fine. But if you're not getting data, if your experiment fail, then you become frustrated. 1 time, 3 time, 4 time. I have seen the people, struggling to get even, sometime I also feel that I'm trying to now publish my paper, and sometimes rejection, sometimes things, sometimes acceptance. So sometimes you have to change your way of writing. There are many things you have to do, and it's all are hit and trial. So this is frustrating things, long journey, frustrating things. And also the life is nomadic life, the academics life is nomad. You see, I started from where, and now I am where. So you don't have a stable place. I mean, if I would have been just decided that, well, I came Amsterdam and let's find some position, in Amsterdam, I would have got that position. That's fine, but that would have been the mediocre, and I would have to compromise. But if you really wanted to excel in the field of research, you have to be ready to be a nomad. You have to be moving always. So that is the drawback in this field. Second drawback is that it's really a long journey. I mean, you see your peers who is engineers and doctors, they are relatively well settled in the field, and they are earning a lot of money. And also the money you are getting as a PhD and postdoc. I think the previous speaker have nicely delineated how much money you are getting in abroad and as a postdoc and PhD. So that is actually is less. In fact, it's very less compared to the other skilled worker in abroad. The third drawback is that it's 24/7 job. So you should be, if you are decided to be a researcher, so you have to be 24/7. I mean, sometimes you have to write a grant, sometimes you have to write a paper. Your boss is saying, oh, you have to submit with this deadline. So be ready you have to be ready for that. So it's not the 9 to 5 job. You came back and then you have sat on the couch so far and start watching the TV or debate listening. This is not going to happen in this field. Even I think even the mediocre lab where there's less lab pressure, this thing is commonplace. And the fourth point I collected that this is if you are in abroad, especially in America and some country in Europe also, this is not the stable position. So each year or each 2 year after 3 year, you are there is evaluation of your performance. So if you will not fulfill the benchmark of that institution, then, or if you are not unable to attract the grant, then you have to look for the other positions. So it's not like that. It's getting a government job, you got a bank manager job, and now you are going to retire from those places. No, you have to fight at every day. You have to fight for every day, and then you try to save your position. And the fifth problem here is that this is especially in India or also abroad. I think there's a big bureaucracy and hierarchy. There's a ego of the scientist involved with that. Even if something is wrong and he's getting the things, the data is wrong, but since his ego and his things are involved with that, so he's trying to prove those things. So you will see. I mean, I would not like to discuss these points. There could be a lot of controversy stuff with this one, but yes, and these are the things. There are big hierarchy here. So the senior is saying something is wrong, and you have to be very diplomatic to say something. And I think this is the history in science. A lot of scientists were even killed in history, speaking truth. And the last thing is that they are very independent position, because I think the mentality of the apex body or the governing body of all the countries would change after this COVID tragedy, and government should start funding or open a lot of independent research position in future. But right now there is very few position, and there's a lot big competition. So there's a possibility that for me also there's a possibility that I would not able to get a faculty position, or I would not even get a scientist position. I have to do something my own. But yeah, everybody is just trying hard. So to reach an independent position is really tough. There's very less space for that. But at the same time, I should say that you should be positive, you should be hopeful, and definitely if X is not working, Y will definitely work. So plan A, plan B, plan C, plan D, everything should be ready for that. So I think I have covered pretty much everything here. So I would like to stop the talk, and I would like to thank you and wish you good luck for your research, and wherever you are in a bachelor or master or PhD or postdoc. Whatever question you would like to ask me personally or in this platform, you can ask me here now. I can write your email, contact me also on Twitter. And a big thanks to you for listening me, and big thanks to Sanjeev sir, Piyush, and all his team, a wonderful team of all these 4-5 young student PhD. They are doing wonderful job. I hope you will get in a nice position. And thank you very much. If you have any question, please let me know.
Looks like there aren't any specific question right now.
All right.
Okay, thank you, Pawan sir, for this wonderful talk and a very balanced approach for all the stages of education in India as well as abroad. And then your talk about research and the patience and the commitment that is needed in this field. I'm sure everyone has learned a lot. One thing that everyone should know is that in the field of research, yes, you are always ahead of everyone. You research on new things, you come to know about new things, and those things come in the book after several years. Just a moment, I hear a lot of noise. Yeah, so those things come in books after 5 years, after 10 years. The things which I am working right now, I can't find it in books. They will come later on when someone like me will write. So yes, it's an exciting field. Coming back to the books, Sanjeev sir also discussed, and Pawan sir has also mentioned for various exams also. These books are chosen based on experiences over time and through a lot of people. So they are actually very nice books, and they are used all around the world. So do not think twice when you buy these books or you get the PDFs. Also, these are standard books. And when you read from these books, they give you the good knowledge. They do not misguide you. They tell you how exactly to succeed in this field. Our aim is to guide you, to make you aware of the things and situations around. You already have the knowledge, but this extra guidance helps you in reaching where you want to. Sometimes we feel that if I had this particular information, say during BSc or MSc, or many of us feel that we would have done even better. So we don't want you to miss those opportunities just because you couldn't get that information in time. So I hope this will be a good help to all of you. I'll, yeah, yes, sir. Pawan,
Yeah.
sir, you were saying something.
No, Go ahead,
So,
please.
and I'll request Sanjeev sir to give his concluding message, and then we can end the session. Sanjeev sir.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you, Dr. Pawan and Dr. Piyush. Very nice presentation and very much informative for the students who wants to search the career in the field of biotechnology, and also he emphasizes the in international opportunity. So very thanks. एक चीज और मैं थोड़ा सा कहना चाहूंगा, क्योंकि जो चीज मैं छूट गया था थोड़ा सा, कि सिमिलरली जैसे बुक्स हम लोग के लिए बहुत ज्यादा इम्पोर्टेंट रखता है फॉर द अचीवमेंट, सिमिलरली सिलेक्शन ऑफ द गुड टीचर, जैसे रिसर्च में पवन ने डिस्कस कर रहे थे कि इन्वेस्टिगेटर या जो आपका गाइड्स हों, उसी तरह से ड्यूरिंग ग्रेजुएशन और आप ड्यूरिंग अपने स्टडी के थ्रू में सिलेक्शन ऑफ गुड टीचर और इज ऑल्सो कीप वैल्यू फॉर मेंटेनिंग द अचीवमेंट। क्योंकि मुझे याद है, एग्जांपल मैं पवन से ही देना चाहूँगा कि याद है कि जब हम लोग प्रिपरेशंस के लिए प्लेटफॉर्म संजीवनी बनाए थे, तो ACBR का फॉर्म बहुत कम लोग भरते थे, हम लोग भी अप्लाई किए थे, लेकिन एक बिहार में एक सबसे बड़ा जो डिमेरिट्स होता है हम लोगों का कम्युनिकेशन स्किल का, तो बहुत लोग हम लोग इस तरह का जानते नहीं थे, और जब इंटरव्यू फेस किए तो उस समय पता चला, चूंकि हमारे सीनियर्स या हमारे टीचर्स उस तरह से गाइड नहीं किए थे, या जानकारी नहीं उस समय इतना ज़्यादा एलाबोरेटेड नहीं था। लेकिन जब मैंने, हमको याद है कि अप्लाई कोई फॉर्म नहीं कर रहा था, तो मैंने सजेस्ट किया, क्योंकि मैं पवन में ये चीज़ पहले ही रीड कर लिया था कि हैज़ बिल्कुल वेरियस एक्स्ट्रा कैपेबिलिटी टू अचीव इन दिस फील्ड। तो मैंने उनको पर्सनली सजेस्ट किया था कि आप ACBR का फॉर्म भरिए, आपका सिलेक्शन होगा इसमें। और मैं मतलब बहुत ये आश्चर्य हुआ कि पूरे उस सेशन में लगता है कि सिर्फ पवन ही सेलेक्ट हुए थे पूरे BN कॉलेज से ACBR में, और फाइनली आज इस पोजीशन पे उसी के प्लेटफॉर्म से और आज यहाँ तक अचीव कर पाए। तो कहीं ना कहीं एक चौराहे पे एक सजेशंस, अच्छे सजेशंस का भी एक बहुत बड़ा मायने रखता है रेदर देन द स्टडी। इसी से बातों के साथ आज टाइम बहुत ज्यादा हो गया है, मैं कंक्लूड करूंगा। और सारे
एक बात मैं कंट्रीब्यूट करना चाहूंगा। एक चीज आप बोल गए कि ACBR के बारे में आपने एक मीटिंग करवाया था जिसमें कि आप संजीव उपाध्याय को आपने अपने उसमें बुलाया था कोचिंग में।
हाँ।
तो जब आए थे तो ACBR के बारे में हमें उसके बारे में उनसे पता चला था, नहीं तो हमें तो पता ही नहीं चला था कि क्या होता है ACBR।
हाँ वो हमारे सीनियर हैं।
I got a lot from your Sanjeevani platform. Well, actually I actually wanted to give back, but unfortunately that platform is no more, or that is converted into the different platform now. So yeah, this is true that I actually earned a lot from that platform, and it was very nice, practicing pitch for me. I was also a student at the same time. I was the teacher there, so that was really a fascinating experience for me there. So I hope that in Patna or somewhere else, somebody is doing like that now, especially for the the youngster coming from the biotechnology and the biology field from different part of the Bihar, especially AN College, BN College, Patna University, Patna Science College, and other part also. Because I remember there were some students also from Ara, from Chhapra. They used to come at that place, Sanjeevani, and I think many of them are doing well now. Some of them are in the biotechnology company. Some of them is PhD. Some of them actually doing teaching in different places now. So that was really a nice inception from your side in 2005, I guess. And luckily, my bachelor was from 2004 to 2007, and you came in 2005. So I actually utilized that window of time, and I got where I had to go.
तो इसीलिए बहुत सारे बच्चों का डिमांड था। पिछले बार जब मैं विजिट किया तो बहुत सारे बच्चों का डिमांड था कि अभी प्लेटफॉर्म नहीं होने के कारण बहुत सारे बच्चे इस तरह के गाइडेंस नहीं मिल पा रहा था। तो अभी ठीक है, एक सोशल मीडिया का एक नया ऑप्शन आ गया है, और इसके लिए बहुत बहुत थैंक्स आप लोगों सारे लोगों का कि आप लोगों ने वहाँ से गाइडेंस लिया और आज फिर अपने जूनियर्स के लिए खड़े हैं, उनके साथ खड़े हैं। और आगे आने वाले भी जो लोग गाइडलाइंस ले रहे हैं उन लोगों से भी मैं रिक्वेस्ट करूंगा कि आप भी आगे जीवन में सक्सेस करते हैं तो इस तरह का प्लेटफॉर्म से अपने आने वाले जनरेशन को नरिश करते रहिए, ताकि ये प्लेटफॉर्म और ये जरिया चलता रहना चाहिए, क्योंकि ये नेशंस के लिए, फाइनली हम लोग नेशंस के लिए ही काम कर रहे हैं। क्योंकि आप कल कुछ अचीव करते हैं तो आप नेशन के लिए कंट्रीब्यूट करेंगे, क्योंकि ये फील्ड फाइनली कुछ ना कुछ नेशंस को ही कंट्रीब्यूट करने जा रहा है।
Yeah, I hope the
हमको
people will
लगता है
get
कि
advantage of these interactive sessions, and and the next talk is, I hope, is going to be, and I'm confident that going to be wonderful. And last two talk was really, even I enjoyed and I learned quite a lot from the last two speaker. So it was really a fantastic. And I thank again all of you. You guys are doing wonderful things, especially those who are doing a kind organizing job. They are really doing fantastic things. So for me, those who are in the volunteer, please connect me anytime, any query, any question. I'm ready to solve your problem. And in fact, if I will get to forward you any interesting position or anything, I would be love to do that. And after all, Piyush is here.
Yeah, Piyush, conclude all the things.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Dr. Pawan. It's almost 2 p.m. at your place, so you need to sleep.
Actually, I drank one coffee, Piyush, because I was sleepy before starting. I drank one coffee. Now it's tough for me to sleep. But anyway, it's good. It's really.
Thank you for your time. Thank you, Sanjeev, and all the volunteers who work in the background. And thank you all the participants and listeners. Have a nice day.